6 News at 11.
I'm sorry to the victim. I'm sorry to his family. Sorry to my son. None of them deserve any of this.
A Lake Oswego mother convicted in a highly publicized hit-and-run case sits down with us for an exclusive on-camera interview before heading off to prison at 11 o'clock. Good evening. I'm Jeff Gianola.
And I'm Kelly Day. That mother told our Amy Frazier that that night back in August was the biggest mistake of her life.
So this is the little box that I made for him to fill with kisses so that when I'm not there, he can just open it and have as many kisses as he wants.
When people see this interview, you'll be headed to prison.
I'm losing my son, and I hurt somebody else, and this has affected so many people's lives in so many ways that didn't do anything to deserve it, and it's all my fault.
We wanted to know how it could happen.
How would you hit someone with your car and then take off?
29-year-old Miriam Clinton, a single mother from Lake Oswego, agreed to sit down with us to answer some sobering questions on what she knew would be one of her last days of freedom for the next 3 years.
I sentenced you to custody or corrections division for a period of 40 months.
Last Friday, a judge sent her right from court to prison after Clinton pleaded guilty to hit and run, third-degree assault, and drunk driving.
I mean, I hope that people think twice before they tell themselves that they're okay to drive home.
The night of August 16th, driving along Southwest Barber Boulevard after dinner and drinks with friends.
I reached in the back seat to grab my purse to make sure that my babysitter hadn't texted me. And as I reached back, I could feel my car hitting the curb.
At the time, investigators say 20-year-old Lewis and Clark student Henry Schmidt was walking his bike along the road because of a flat tire.
And I looked up, and what felt to me like a sign or something hit my windshield, and all I could think was, oh my goodness. I kept going. I should have stopped, but I certainly did not think that I had hit a human being.
You knew you had hit something. Yes. Why not stop and pull over and figure out what that was?
In my mind at the time, being intoxicated, I thought to myself that, what's the difference if I deal with it now or if I deal with it tomorrow when I'm, at home.
You weren't supposed to be driving that night at all.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind the drinking.
Mm-hmm. Because of my suspended license, yes.
Did you ever think about that choice?
Yeah, it was a lot of bad choices.
The next morning, a Saturday, Miriam says she had her car towed to an auto body shop where her ex-boyfriend's friend works, and then left town on a camping trip with friends until the following Tuesday. Meanwhile, Henry Schmidt was in the hospital with a broken leg, broken bones in his face, a fractured spine, and lacerated spleen. His family speaking out from the hospital, hoping someone will tell police about the hit-and-run driver.
This could be anyone's loved one, anyone's brother or sister or parent or child, and nobody should be in this position.
What do you want Henry Schmidt to know?
I've put him through all this pain and suffering, and I just want to know that I'm sorry.
Miriam says she returned from her camping trip on Tuesday and went to her restaurant job on Wednesday.
Had no idea that any of this had happened.
Until, she says, she got a call from her ex-boyfriend who knew about her damaged car and had seen news reports of the hit and run.
So I went on the internet, and I realized that there was a really good chance that I was involved in the hit and run on the news, and so I immediately called an attorney. We called the car in. I turned myself in. I wasn't hiding from anybody.
She says she wants people to know she passed a lie detector test. At the same time, she says she is taking responsibility for her mistakes.
I'm a good person that made a terrible mistake. I'm sorry to the victim. I'm sorry to his family. I'm sorry to my son. None of them deserve any of this.
Amy Frazier, KOIN 6 News.
Thank you, Amy. Now, Miriam Clinton is now serving that 3-year, 4-month sentence at the Coffee Creek Correctional Facility. Prosecutors believe that she knew she hit a person, and they tell us that the evidence in this case, like that damaged windshield you saw, strongly supports that. The victim in this case, Henry Schmidt, said he just was not up for doing an interview, but his mother tells us he has been working very hard to recover.
Well, happening now, a boil water notice in effect tonight for nearly 600 Portland water customers. This is in southwest Portland near 30th and Vermont. Now, the Water Bureau tells us a construction project that was supposed to affect a dozen homes actually cut off water to hundreds. They're worried contaminants may have entered the system, so this order is just a precaution. Now, this is right near a reservoir where high levels of bacteria were discovered a few months ago. We showed you the problem in a KOIN 6 investigation. We asked the Water Bureau about that tonight. They say today's issue is completely unrelated. We'll let you know when the results are back in this latest test and if it's safe to stop boiling your water. We're learning more tonight about a collapse that led to a hazmat situation at a business in Vancouver. It was breaking news at 4 this afternoon. Authorities say the floor at the Vancouver Warehouse and Distribution Company gave way and 400,000 pounds of lead dropped into containers of rubbing alcohol. We confronted the owner tonight about what went wrong, but he would not talk to us. Witnesses say it sounded and felt like an explosion.
I was just worried for chemicals in the air.
A lot of kids in the area too.
With mine, I was concerned with my kids and living right over here with all the kids that we have.
One person at the business was treated at the scene for the rubbing alcohol burning his feet. We wanted to know if the company had any safety issues in the past, so we checked with the State Labor and Industries Department. We found out the business has one minor violation back in 2011 for not reporting an injury.
We are getting some answers tonight about a recent school bond that raised taxes for everyone in the Portland School District. Voters were told that the $482 million bond would go to rebuild 4 schools and also improve safety at dozens of others. So we wanted to know if a proposal passed last night to expand 3 high schools should be covered by that bond. Well, we took that question to a member of the committee that is set up to oversee the bond.
No case of bait and switch here. Modernizing and adding space at the same time, I don't see that as a major conflict or change.
The bond committee also tells us the rebuilding and the remodeling of schools is costing less than they expected, so they do have enough money left from the bond to also expand school space.
New at 11, they're tired of the smell in their neighborhood. Some people in the Overlook area are taking on Daimler trucks tonight, accusing the company of an obnoxious odor they worry could be dangerous. Jolie Winaga live on Swan Island tonight. Joel, neighbors are actually starting to get some help from the state?
Good evening, Jeff. Last July, the DEQ granted Daimler's air quality permit renewal, but because of numerous complaints from the surrounding neighborhood, they could soon reconsider. Folks living in North Portland's Overlook neighborhood aren't shy about the strong odor of fumes they breathe in.
You can smell it, and what am I breathing in? You know, is it poisonous?
Questions concerned neighbors want answered at Tuesday night's neighborhood association meeting.
I think it's a public health concern. Without knowing what types of substances are in the air, we're really not sure how healthy the air is, and so we're concerned about our health.
Neighbors blame the Daimler Trucks plant on nearby Swan Island for the odor taking over their neighborhood. The DEQ renewed Daimler's air quality permit back in July, but because of complaints is now agreeing to reconsider it.
I think it's important for the state to step up and really listen to citizen concerns, so I'm glad that they're paying attention.
When we asked Daimler Trucks about the complaints, they told us the manufacturing process emissions from the Swan Island plant are well below permitted levels, and quote, DTNA is committed to assisting the department in its assessment. In the interim, we will continue to operate under our valid permit. The neighborhood association says Daimler has refused to meet with them directly, so they're looking to the state for help.
I would hope that they investigate, because it is definitely, there's something going on. Don't know what the odor is.
Back live now. The next step, well, we are told the DEQ now has 60 days to respond to this petition for reconsideration, whether they issued that permit and they were correct or not. We, of course, will keep you posted. Reporting live here on Swan Island tonight, I'm Joel Iwanaga, KOIN 6 News. Kelly and Jeff, we'll send it back to you.
Joel, thank you. We have some new information tonight on one small town's efforts to open its own marijuana store. The Northbonneville City Council tonight passed a resolution that funds those efforts, and it also sets up an authority to deal with the opening and managing of the business. That authority is charged with preventing illegal drug use by minors and also by those out of state, and promoting drug abuse education and treatment. Now, the mayor of Northbonneville told us that they want to run their own store so they can have more control and also get the revenue benefits. The city, though, still has to apply for and be approved for a license.
Next, a big bust at the Port of Portland involving toxic toys. How customs agents discovered hundreds of thousands of dangerous dolls that could have ended up under your tree.
Plus, are you struggling to come up with a down payment for a home? We'll show you how you can get $15,000 to help if you act fast.
And the baby boom at the Oregon Zoo continues. See who just brought this little guy into the world. Coming up.
Well, I hope he's got a heater. I'm pretty sure he does. Happening tonight, the cold and dry air moving in and clearing our skies. If you've been outside, you could feel the cold, and we're just getting started. I've got details on our coldest stretch of mornings in 10 months.
Over the past 6 months, customs agents have intercepted
KOIN Local 6 at 11.
Well, here is a look at some of the more than 200,000 toy dolls that were seized by custom agents at the Port of Portland and other cities. They came from China, and they contain dangerous chemicals that could be harmful to you and your children.
Well, Ken Boddy live at the port tonight to show us what agents did to catch these toxic toys. Ken?
Well, U.S. Customs agents intercepted 10 shipments of toys, including here at the Port of Portland. Those toys contain a chemical used to make hard plastic softer and more rubbery, but they can also be very harmful to humans. They look like dolls any parent might buy for a child, but these plastic toys from China are anything but safe. Agents with U.S. Customs and Border Patrol seized more than $500,000 worth of the dolls after they discovered they contained phthalates, a banned substance in the United States.
Phthalates can cause a variety of negative health impacts, from reproductive problems to birth defects. These can wreak havoc on children and in particular on infants.
The seizures happened at 8 U.S. ports of entry, including Portland, Chicago, Dallas, Los Angeles, Norfolk, Memphis, Newark, and Savannah, Georgia. Border agents work with the Consumer Product Safety Commission to intercept the dangerous toys before they manage to make it into stores and ultimately into homes.
In this instance, we're keeping unsafe toys off the shelves, especially at a time when parents are out there buying toys for children.
When we get a sample in, we want to take a look at each component part. So we have the head is one type of plastic and the body is another type of plastic.
Dr. Matthew Dreyfus of the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission runs the dolls through a series of tests.
As you can see, we've got positive hits for different types of phthalate.
But while these dangerous toys are off the shelves, consumer advocates say other dangerous toys are still out there or on the way, and there's no guarantee that customs agents can catch them all.
Parents shouldn't have to worry that the toys their children will play with are poisoning them.
So parents should always be vigilant. Look at the labels, where the products are made, and also check the Consumer Product Safety Commission website as well as the Osberg website for any updates on problems with products that you may get. Phthalates have been found in a number of products other than the dolls you saw there. They've been found in things like basketballs, even children backpacks. Live at the Port of Portland, Ken Boddy, KOIN 6 News.
Ken, thank you. In your money, there's new help if you're trying to buy a home but you don't have enough money for a down payment. Wells Fargo is now offering $15,000 down payment grants. The bank announced its rollout of the Neighborhood Lift program today. You'll have to meet credit and income requirements to obtain that grant. You also have to attend a mortgage seminar. So if you'd like to apply, we have more information at KOIN.com.
Neighbors in Northeast Portland are noticing some changes along 82nd Avenue, and they are good ones. That notorious stretch has been known for activities like drugs and prostitution, but neighbors say since the Kings Row Motel, a nearby lingerie shop, and also a questionable coffee stand closed recently, things have improved.
Our neighborhood is working with the police to get this stuff under control. We're tired of it.
We found neighbors there along 82nd have formed the largest neighborhood watch, in fact, in the city, with foot patrols. Those patrols are credited with some of the decrease in the crime there recently. City leaders tell us there is also a positive shift with new businesses and construction.
Now, the forecast with KOIN 6 Chief Meteorologist Bruce Sussman.
Well, the storms have headed out, but boy, are we in for some cold weather, and I hope you're ready for it. Here we go for tomorrow's forecast. 35 out the door in Portland. Outlying areas will be below freezing and some patchy fog, but I think sun dominates in the morning. It becomes breezy by lunchtime, and so even though it's 44, it won't feel that warm. We do make it up to 47 in the afternoon, and then more clear skies as we go into tomorrow night, and that's when temperatures are really going to drop like a rock. Now, outside, it's clear in Portland. It's 39 degrees and a bit of a northwest breeze, which is actually some cooler air moving in. Almost everybody in the 30s right now across the metro area. Vancouver at 36, only downtown hanging on to a 40-degree reading. And it's a little warmer for Salem and Corvallis, and over towards Bend. More clouds here, as you'll see on the satellite. Already 30s some places along the coast. What's been happening is cool and dry air moving in from the northwest, and it's a gradual process because look at this. It's still raining in southern Oregon. That's the rain that hit us this morning during the morning commute. So this whole thing needs to drop out of our skies, and it will overnight. 11 o'clock tonight, the clearing happening in Portland. Cloudy as you get down towards Marion County. Look at the clearing, and that's all cool, dry air coming in overnight. This is tomorrow morning. We go all the way through the day. It is spectacular and sunny. However, we do have this to contend with, and that is a cold cold east wind that develops gradually as we go through the day tomorrow, and that's going to make it breezy and chilly because this wind will be colder than the east wind we had just about a week ago by several degrees. So I think in our Wednesday forecast, it's actually going to feel cold all day tomorrow. Out the door, temperatures 28 to 35. That's cold, right? But then between 10 and noon, the east wind develops, and gusts could top 20 miles an hour at times. And in addition to that, it's the wind chill that'll get you. It'll feel to your body like it's in the 30s because of that east breeze, even when the wind's not that strong. So let's talk specifics on temperatures now. Maybe some morning frost for the north coast and north of Portland, and then Salem and Eugene, yeah, because of the later clearing, you may not reach freezing tomorrow morning. And then our high temperatures east of the Cascades will be 30s and 40s. A lot of gusty winds coming out of the gorge through Cascade Locks. It's going to be rocking up at Crown Point tomorrow. Temperatures in the Cascades will be cold with a high of 33. Now, what about this? 34 for a morning low in the city tomorrow. I still think some of us have a chance to go below freezing tonight and even make 29 in Hillsboro. Tomorrow morning, some patchy frost and patchy fog, but it's going to be limited because we got a little bit of a breeze to help stir things up. 34 for a morning low in Vancouver. Now check out the 7-day forecast because Thursday it's sunny and breezy, and I think many places start in the 20s, including Portland. Friday, I've got us at mid-20s in Portland, and I bet either Thursday morning or Friday morning, some of us in the suburbs are going to wake up to maybe 19 or 20 degrees.
Right.
So anyway, we got a lot of sunshine coming. I've got to find my sunglasses again because I misplaced them during all the rain and gray.
Yeah.
But we need them again, and your warm jacket.
Yeah, this time of year, you take those clouds away, and our temperatures just...
Yeah. They do. You can't do warm and sunny this time of year, but you can do cold and sunny, so at least we got the sun.
Okay,
cold and
thanks,
sunny.
Bruce.
Thanks. Well, next, the president held her up as one of the Obamacare success stories.
I recently received a letter from a woman named Jessica Sanford in Washington State.
But things have changed for the woman from Washington. Why she's now dropping her plan altogether.
at 11 now. It was supposed to be a big Obamacare success story for a Washington state woman, but that may not be the case.
I recently received a letter from a woman named Jessica Sanford in Washington state. Now, finally, we get to have coverage because of the ACA for $169 per month. I was crying the other day when I signed up. So much stress lifted.
Well, it turns out that local woman who was called out by President Obama last month now says she can't afford the insurance. That's because the Washington State Healthcare Exchange sent her a letter saying they made a mistake and she was not going to get a tax credit that she expected.
I went online to look at the plan I had bought. It went up to $390. It was a huge disappointment, and especially since I had, my story had been shared by the president.
About 8,000 people in Washington had the same thing happen to them. Healthcare exchange leaders say they have apologized. Sanford now says that she will pay the penalty for simply not having health insurance, which is 1% of her income, or about $490 a year.
In your health, it's a main ingredient in beer. Hops may do more than just make beer taste good. New research at OSU shows a compound inside could actually slow down the cancer formation process. Now, in Europe, a supplement with the hop compound is already on the market. Local researchers say in tests, an ingredient in hops also helped animals lose weight. They say in the future, pills with the hop compound could help prevent obesity and type 2 diabetes. Unfortunately, there isn't enough of the compound in a pint of beer for you to see any real positive effects.
Caught on camera now, a car crashes into a gas station pump in Chehalis and bursts into flames. A worker at the station quickly hit the emergency shutoff for that pump, but you can see the fire kept growing. They finally got it out with a fire extinguisher, and the person who crashed that car is accused of stealing it. Prosecutors say the suspect may have been on painkillers at the time. Customers held that driver there until police turned up and arrested him.
Just ahead, the first video of the new bundle of joy at the Oregon Zoo, and why zookeepers still aren't sure if it's a boy or a girl.
A Southern Oregon woman is getting national attention tonight for her very unusual cooking method. Her name is Jody Anderson, and she uses her coffee pot to make everything from spaghetti to boiled eggs. NPR did a story on her cooking yesterday, and they even tried out some of her recipes. Wow, that looks darn close to gourmet there, doesn't it? Anderson says you can steam, poach, or even grill your food in your coffee maker. She says she got this idea when her nephew was stationed in Afghanistan, and she said the only thing he could have in his room is a coffee pot. So she came up with all these ideas, and now she's working on a cookbook.
Well, a popular local food cart is giving you a new option for when the Blazers score 100 points or more at a home game. Koi Fusion says you can bring the coupon that's supposed to be for a McMuffin from McDonald's to their stand. In exchange, you'll get a free taco.
Oh, in case you want to go back to the taco idea. Yeah. Well, there's a new addition up at the Oregon Zoo. We just got video of this adorable baby river otter. Tilly gave birth to the pup less than 2 weeks ago, and there she is with those teeny weeny little nails. The zookeepers say they think it's a boy. Wait, did I call it a she?
They don't know yet.
They don't know yet. They think it's a boy, but I think maybe it's a girl. And they can't be sure because mom is very protective of her baby. Tilly and the pup are in a private maternity den right now, and the zoo says they'll probably be there about another month or two before visitors can see them because mama doesn't want anyone coming too close.
I think it's a boy.
Oh, you do?
Well, you know,
they think it's they probably know more than I do.
At this point, you can probably go boy or girl because we don't know.
We don't know.
So just go for it.
50-50.
Hey, you know, cold tomorrow.
All right, take care.
Good night. When it's that cute.